Anya, and the rhythm of the ancient forest. That afternoon, the fog drifted lazily like slender ghosts, weaving between the thick canopy. The sky looked like an old piece of paper soaked in water, splotched and gray. The whole village of soft moss slumbered in the hush of ticking clocks and the lingering scent of toasted bread in the kitchen. Anya sat by the window, her chin resting on her elbow. Her wild brown hair spilled into her eyes as she pored over an old red-bound book her grandmother had left behind. On the yellowed pages were hand-drawn sketches of forest creatures. One looked like a rabbit with mossy antlers, another like a squirrel with wings made of silver foil. In the lower right corner was a strange drawing, a tiny door nestled among tree roots, marked with a symbol of a closed eye. Below it, faded words whispered, "Not all doors lead outward. Some lead within." Anya closed the book. She could hear her mother's soft breathing in the room next door. Without hesitation, she slipped on her shoes, grabbed a small oil lamp, a jar of honey to lure gentle creatures, and a notebook filled with broken pencils. The forest began just beyond the backyard, only a few steps from her house, but adults always forbade children from venturing deep inside. "The forest has ears," they said, "and those ears do not like to be disturbed." Anya didn't care. She preferred silence over the rushed conversations of grown-ups. And today, something unseen seemed to be guiding her, as if an invisible thread were gently tugging her hand. The moss thickened beneath her feet, the trees grew tall like cathedral columns, and the sunlight filtered through in scattered slivers. The birds had gone quiet. Not a single leaf stirred. And then Anya saw it. An ancient tree with roots twisted like reaching arms. Among the roots was a wooden door, no higher than her knees. Moss crept across its surface, and in the center was the carving of a closed eye. The handle was a rusted iron ring, icy to the touch. Anya knelt. Her heart beat fast, but not from fear. It was something else, something like the feeling of finally finding something that had been waiting for her all along. She turned the handle. A soft click echoed. The door slowly creaked open, not to soil or tangled roots, but to a tunnel. A dark, gaping tunnel that stretched far into the unknown. Its scent was a mix of damp leaves, soft fungi, and a distant, unfamiliar floral sweetness. Anya stepped inside. The moment Anya stepped through the door, it felt as though she were slowly falling into a dream. When her feet touched the ground, she found herself standing in a forest, familiar, yet utterly strange. The trees towered higher than they should, their leaves shimmered with a soft metallic glow, and every mote of dust in the air sparkled like fairy powder. The most unsettling thing was, there was no sound at all. No footsteps, no wind, not even the sound of her own breath. Anya opened her mouth to exhale, but no sound emerged. She slapped her hand against a tree trunk, still nothing. All noise had been swallowed, leaving only a silence so thick, so heavy, it felt like a wet blanket pressed against every sense. Her heartbeat quickened. She spun around, looking for the way back, but the door had vanished. Then, a tiny light floated toward her, like a flickering ember suspended in the air. It was a small creature, no taller than a finger, with a body as delicate as mist, glowing softly with gossamer wings that shimmered like silver paper. Its eyes were large, round, and deep black, like the surface of a bottomless lake. It looked at Anya, and then a voice echoed in her mind, gentle but strange, like a lullaby from another world. "At last, you have come." Anya swallowed, or tried to. Her throat was dry, and even the sound of that small gulp was absent. The creature circled her, leaving a faint trail of light behind, like a tiny galaxy unfurling. After a moment of silence, the voice returned, still within her thoughts. "I am me, one of the last guardians of this forest, before it was swallowed by silence. Anya tried to speak, but her voice caught at the edge of her lips. She could only stare at me, eyebrows furrowed in confusion. "It's all right," me whispered. "You don't need to speak. Here, we must all learn to listen with our minds." Me floated over to perch on a glowing mushroom branch, sitting cross-legged, chin resting in its hands, like a weary child repeating an old tale. Long ago, this forest was full of song. Streams told stories, birds wove music into the morning mist. But then, the Shadow Queen came. Anya's eyes widened. Me nodded, its black gaze glinting with sorrow. She was once a forest fae, beautiful and terribly alone. But her heart grew bitter with envy. She hated laughter, hated light, and most of all, she hated the joyful memories of others. So she did the cruelest thing. She stole sound. Any creature that enters this forest loses their voice, and those who lie or hide the truth are turned into trees, mushrooms, or mirrors. Anya tightened her grip on the jar of honey. She had never heard a story so haunting and so sad. Me drifted closer, its wings gently beating. "She trapped me in this form, but you can save me and yourself. There are 3 seals that bind the forest's curse. Break all 3, and you will unlock the gate to leave, but only if you hold on to truth and trust." Anya opened her small notebook, her hands trembling. With a broken pencil, she wrote the first lines. 3 seals, a forest fae, a sadness without sound. "The first trial," me said, "is the mirror silent tree, a place where your greatest fear reflects back at you. If you cannot face it, the reflection will replace you. The second trial is the hill of lost tracks, where time runs backward. There you may become lost in your own past. And the final trial is meeting the gatekeeper, once human, now cursed into a giant, eyeless, earless doll. It listens only with its heart. If you lie, it will know." Me paused, staring long at Anya. "You may still return, if you can find the old door again. But if you go on, there will be no way back." Anya looked down at her hands. The oil lamp had long gone out. She touched the old book in her pocket, the one with the drawing of the closed eye. She took a breath, though no sound came, and nodded. "I will go," Anya said in her mind. Me smiled, the first smile Anya had seen from the little creature. "Good. Then let me take you to meet your first companion. He's waiting, in the field of blind mushrooms." The field of blind mushrooms was not on any map, not even in the old book Anya carried from her grandmother. It stretched like a sea of thick fog, veiling countless giant mushrooms growing shoulder to shoulder, each one reaching up to her waist. Every mushroom had a strange shape, some twisted like seashells, others puffed up like glassy bubbles. Anya walked through the mushroom grove. She couldn't hear her own footsteps, but she could feel every heartbeat echo in her chest. Me hovered by her shoulder, the glow from its wings lighting a path through the fog so thick it seemed touchable. Then she heard a voice, the first true voice since entering the forest. It wasn't inside her mind. It was real. So real, it startled her. "Careful now, human. These mushrooms don't take kindly to being stepped on." Anya spun around. A small orange fox sat atop a large mushroom. Its fur was messy, its tail curled like a vine, and around its neck hung a faded scarf with a red-stitched M. The fox looked at Anya with eyes, tired, eyes of someone who had once known a beautiful world and lost it forever. "My name is Milo. I was once human," it said, voice raspy but clear. And I'll be your first companion, Anya. How do you know my name? The forest told me. When someone true enters, the forest breathes differently. Quieter, deeper, Milo replied. Me landed on the mushroom cap, nodding. Milo used to be the guardian of the mirror tree, but when he hid a truth, the forest took away his human form. Milo smirked, a bitter kind of smile. Don't worry, I'm used to 4 legs now. But you're not. If you enter the silent mirror unready, it will take you, just like it took me. They passed through the field of blind mushrooms. The path led to a deep hollow where a massive fallen tree lay rotting. But in the hollow core of the trunk, embedded inside the wood, stood a giant mirror. No frame, no border, just a black still surface as wide as a doorway. Yi floated closer and whispered, "This is the first trial. The mirror shows not your form, but your deepest fear. If you refuse to face the truth, it will create a double from that fear, and it will replace you forever." Milo nodded, eyes fixed on Anya. You only get one chance. If the double steps out before you, we won't be able to save you. Anya took a deep breath. Her hands trembled, but her heart stayed steady. She stepped forward. Slowly, her reflection came into focus, but it had no face. In the mirror was Anya, faceless. Her hair hung limp, her body exactly the same, but her eyes, nose, mouth, gone. Then gradually, a face began to form, not her face now, but the one she had when she was 6. Eyes swollen red, bruised cheeks, lips tightly shut. Mi's voice whispered inside her mind, "Your greatest fear is being left behind." Then came another voice, a cold one, her father's, like a memory carved in ice. "We're going home, but there's no place for you anymore." Anya shivered. It was the memory she thought she had forgotten, the day her father left and never turned back, leaving her with her mother and an empty promise. In the mirror, the little version of herself smiled, a crooked, broken smile. It stepped toward the surface, ready to cross over. But Anya raised her hand. "I'm not afraid of being left anymore." The thought rang in her heart like a bell. "I have my mother, my grandma. I have reasons stronger than that fear." The whole forest trembled, like a long exhale. The mirror cracked, then shattered into silver dust. The small double dissolved into wind. Anya collapsed, gasping, and for the first time since she had entered the forest, a sound escaped her lips. A breath. Mi danced in glowing circles around her in joy. Milo jumped forward, wagging his tail for the first time. "You did it. You were truly brave." Anya smiled, though tears still streamed down her cheeks. "One seal is broken," Mi said. 2 remain, and they will be harder." After breaking the first seal, the forest began to breathe again. Mi flew higher. With each flutter of its wings, delicate chimes, like tiny glass bells, rippled through the air, so faint that Anya had to close her eyes to truly hear them. Milo walked quietly by her side. Now and then, his tail brushed against her hand, as if to say, "I'm still here." "We're almost there," Mi said. "But be careful, the hill of lost traces is where time doesn't flow straight. There, memories don't just appear, they live again." They stopped at the base of a gentle slope blanketed in feathergrass, silver-colored and soft as silk, swaying with every step. At the top of the hill stood a giant clock tree, its hands turning slowly backward in silence, with no numbers to mark the hours. Around its roots, stones protruded from the earth, carved like human faces, each one with eyes shut tight. "Once you step onto the hill," Milo said, "you'll face what you've buried. But one thing matters most. If you step wrong, you'll be trapped in a time that isn't yours." Anya looked up toward the summit. Something in the wind made her shiver, as if an invisible hand was flipping through pages of her past. She stepped forward. Time begins to flow backward. The first step, the sky turned violet. The second, wind blew from behind her. The third, broken voices echoed in the air. Anya, you can't carry everything alone. Her mother's voice. I'm old now, darling, but don't be afraid. Your dream still lives in me. Her grandmother's. Anya turned around, but behind her was fog. No sign of me, no Milo. She was alone. And then, from nowhere, June appeared. June, Anya's best friend, who had disappeared from her life 3 years ago. She stood in the middle of the hill, pigtails bouncing, her yellow shirt stained with paint and her dark eyes shining with mischief. Do you remember me? June asked. Anya nodded. I thought you were mad at me because I didn't come to your art show that day. June smiled, but something in that smile made Anya's skin crawl. She took a step back, and the hands of the clock above began spinning faster. You don't really remember, June said. You don't remember that you were the one who said you'd never draw again. You left me behind. Anya's heart thudded. Images surrounded her. A room full of torn-up drawings. Her own hands throwing a sketchbook into the trash. Her voice sharp with anger. Nobody needs this stupid stuff. Nobody cares. Drawing doesn't save anyone. Anya clutched her head. That day had really happened. The day her father left, she had thrown away the very things that brought her joy. Art and June. I'm sorry, Anya whispered. I was just scared. Scared of being left, so I left first. The wind on the hill stilled. Time held its breath. The stone faces at the base opened their eyes. And June, no longer just a memory, stepped forward and wrapped her arms around Anya. I was never mad at you. I just wished you'd stop being so mad at yourself. And then June faded, dissolving into light. Milo sprinted up the hill, his eyes shining bright. You did it! Me fluttered after him, wings singing like a lullaby. The great clock shattered into ash. The sky turned blue. The second seal is gone. Anya rose to her feet, gripping a worn sketchbook. Something that had reappeared in her hands, as if brought back with her reclaimed memory. She turned back to the hill of lost traces, one last time. I'm not forgetting anymore, and I'm not running away. Leaving the hill of lost traces, night fell, but it was not the kind of night one could rest in. It was black like thin ink, thick and voiceless. Me fluttered close to Anya's chest, the faint glow from its wings barely lighting a few steps ahead. We're entering the heart of the forest, Me whispered, where the hollow of silent wind lies. Nothing makes a sound there. No footsteps, no breathing, no words can be spoken. Milo let out a low growl. For the first time since they began, he was clearly afraid. I've never dared go this deep. There's something inside, something that used to be human, but was erased by the forest for lying to itself. The final gate. They reached a cracked stone crevice, gaping wide like the mouth of a sleeping giant. The trees around the hollow were withered, their roots clutching the air, as if grasping for the last thread of awareness. At the entrance sat a massive wooden doll, over 2 meters tall. It had no eyes, no mouth, just a carved X where its face should be. Cross-legged, hands open, it held a small wooden box before it, the box of the inverted mirror. Me whispered, the final seal lies within. But to open it, Anya must write down the truth she hides deepest, the truth she hasn't even admitted to herself. And she must write it, in blood. Anya swallowed hard. The air was so silent, she could hear her own heartbeat. And then she couldn't. Sound vanished, completely. Anya knelt before the box. Inside was an old sheet of parchment and a pen, its tip a fine silver blade. Me perched on her shoulder, no longer glowing. Milo sat close behind, perfectly still, as if time itself had frozen. Anya stared at the parchment, and then, strangely, fragments of memory flickered through her mind. She stood beside her grandmother's grave. Her mother wept uncontrollably, but Anya didn't shed a single tear. Inside, she thought, what a relief. No one will expect me to be strong anymore. Anya trembled. Was that the truth? The thing she had buried deepest, because admitting it would make her feel like a terrible person? She picked up the blade and made a small cut on her finger. Blood dripped onto the parchment, deep crimson against faded cream. The first words appeared. I felt relieved when Grandma passed away. Anya choked up, tears spilling as her hand trembled, but she continued writing, because she was the last one who believed in me. I was always afraid of disappointing her, so when she was gone, I felt I was finally allowed to fall apart. As the final line dried, the box trembled gently. The eyeless doll nodded, once, slow, terrifying. Then, it opened its mouth. The X-shaped scar split, no teeth, no tongue. From within, a sound emerged, not words, but the forest's first breath in decades. The seal breaks. The world shifted, the trees around the hollow uprooted, spiraling upward. The sky turned from ink black to silver mist. Me glowed once more, singing a soft, crystalline melody, so beautiful it made Anya weep. The final seal is gone, Me breathed, its eyes wet. Milo rose, and his fox body shimmered with light. For a moment, Anya saw the outline of a young man with a silver scarf, smiling radiantly. Thank you, Anya, he said. Because of you, the forest breathes again, and I can finally be myself. At the heart of the hollow of silent wind, a single seed fell to the earth. From it grew the heart tree, its white light glowing through every leaf, and along its trunk, tiny cocoons shimmered. Inside each cocoon, tiny fairies began to stir. At the moment the heart tree bloomed, a quiet silver light enveloped the entire forest. Me flew upward, spun 3 times in the air, then fell like a shower of tiny petals. She didn't disappear but transformed, from a glowing fairy into a hand-sized girl with orchid-like wings and a dress woven from morning dew threads. Anya, Me smiled. You've broken all 3 seals. You're ready to see the truth. Come with me, to the kingdom beneath the leaves. The path opens. Beneath the roots of the heart tree, the ground cracked open in a spiral, like a door that breathed. Milo, now fully in human form, a boy with fox-like eyes, tousled silver hair, and a careless half-smile, reached out his hand to Anya. You brought me back to myself. Now it's my turn, to lead you to the missing part of you. Anya took his hand. The 3 of them stepped into the light, the kingdom beneath the leaves. The scene unfolded like a fairy tale book no one had ever finished reading. The entire kingdom lay hidden beneath the forest's leafy canopy, with glowing mushroom houses, star-reflecting lakes under the daylight sky, and tiny creatures with transparent ears singing in an unknown tongue. They stopped before a great stone-grown harp. Its music was the very energy that kept the kingdom alive. But now, the harp was silent. Me looked at Anya and said gently, The harp only sings when the keeper of the rhythm returns to her place. Anya, you are a descendant of the very first keeper. The blood you carry is the reason the forest could never erase you, even when it forgot everything else. Me raised her hand. A thin mist gathered, swirling into an image. A woman with long brown hair, her face uncannily like Anya's, sat beneath a tree, playing the harp. The music made the leaves sway, the water fall still, and the wind hold its breath. She was your grandmother, Me whispered. Before she crossed into the world of humans, She was the last keeper of rhythm in the kingdom beneath the leaves. When she left, the forest began to fall out of balance. The heart tree dried, and the boundary between light and shadow began to blur. Milo added, his voice low and steady, "And now, only you, carrying her blood, having passed the 3 trials, can bring the harp back to life." Anya stepped before the stone harp. Her hands trembled slightly. There were no strings, only glowing grooves, flickering like stars. She drew a deep breath and placed her fingers on the first groove. At Anya's touch, sound rose, a wordless voice. No lyrics, no instrument, only the tender vibration of a sorrow long forgiven. The harp glowed. High above, the leaves began to fall, each one carrying the image of a forest creature awakening. Fire rabbits, purple-eyed birds, antlered cats, and dancing mushroom children. Mi's eyes filled with tears. Milo lifted his gaze skyward, and for the first time saw a blue sky in a place where the sky had never been. The entire kingdom. Leaves shimmered with renewed brilliance. Creatures once sealed away slowly returned. Tiny children, no larger than a thumbprint, gathered around Anya, painting her dress with light and scent. "The keeper of rhythm has returned. The harp is alive. Anya! Anya!" Anya laughed, her first true laugh in what felt like forever, clear and delicate like the chime of a bell. And in that moment she understood. She hadn't come only to save something. She had come to find herself. The kingdom flourished anew. Luminous flowers bloomed once more. The great tree sang its primordial song. Memory butterflies fluttered through shafts of sunlight, each wing a fragment of something once forgotten. That night the kingdom held a festival of light. All woodland beings, from dream mushrooms to grass dragons, gathered in harmony. Mi wore a gown spun from starlight threads. Milo donned a crown he wove himself from living grass. Anya sat between them, smiling outwardly, though something quiet stirred within. Mi turned to her gently. "You're about to choose, aren't you?" Anya nodded. "You may stay here, become the new keeper of rhythm. Here, you are a part of the forest's pulse. No one asks you to be silent. But I still have my world, my mother, and the people who've never known the forest once lived." After the celebration, Mi and Milo led Anya back to the heart tree, the place where everything began. From the earth's center a pathway emerged, formed from thousands of interwoven roots spiraling upward, a conduit back to the human world. "If you step into it," Mi said, "the world will believe you were gone for just one night. But if you stay, the other world will forget you, though you will remember this always." Anya looked at them both, then at the harp. "If I take the harp with me, will I remember everything?" Mi nodded. The wind stirred. A single leaf drifted down, landing softly in Anya's palm. Upon it, words appeared, written in something unnameable. "To remember is to love, not to remain." Anya smiled, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I'll return to my world, but I won't forget. And if someone ever needs a new rhythm, I'll lend them my heart." Mi wrapped her in a tight embrace. Milo pressed a small seed into her hand and whispered, "Plant it where the first light touches. If it blooms, it means the forest still lives within you." Anya stepped into the root-bound path. The light faded gently. And then, only the faintest sound of a harp lingered in the air. A few days later, in the human world, Anya awoke in her bed as if from a long, enchanted sleep. Her mother sat beside her, hand in hand, her eyes filled with both surprise and calm. "Where did you go, my dear?" Anya smiled softly. "I just went to find an old song Grandma used to sing." 1 year later, a small balcony. Anya sat quietly, a harp by her side. On the railing, a tiny pot held a single bloom, a flower whose petals shimmered with light. She played a gentle melody, and somewhere in the wind, Mi's laughter danced like bells through the air.